Alabama and LSU will meet for the 89th time when the two face off in Tiger Stadium on Saturday night. The Crimson Tide own a sizable advantage in the series history with 59 wins to 27 losses, but what's even more impressive is the Tide's record in Baton Rouge. While it's regarded as one of the toughest places to play in the country, since 1970, Alabama owns a 21-5 record against LSU in Tiger Stadium. Alabama won the last matchup in Bryant-Denny last season. LSU took a 28-21 lead early in the third quarter, but Alabama finished the game with 21 unanswered points as the Tide rolled to a 42-28 win. LSU enters the matchup 6-2 and 3-1 in the SEC. The Tigers lost their opening game of the season to USC. With the score tied at 20, the Trojans scored with 8 seconds left to get the win, 27-20. LSU then won 6 straight, including wins over South Carolina, UCLA, Ole Miss, and Arkansas. In their last contest against Texas A&M, LSU led the Aggies 17-7 in the third quarter, but the Aggies outscored the Tigers 31-6 the rest of the way to hand LSU their second loss of the season, 38-23. Both Alabama and LSU are coming off bye weeks. The last time the Crimson Tide came off a bye week, Alabama had an incredible game plan as everything seemed to go right as they led #1 Georgia 28-0 early in the second quarter. Leading the LSU program is Brian Kelly. He is 26-9 as head coach at LSU, but is 1-3 all-time against the Crimson Tide. Offensively, LSU has leaned on the passing game this season and has had trouble running the ball. LSU is dead last in the SEC in rushing yards with 922, but the Tigers are second in the conference and 6th nationally in passing yards with 2,662. While the offensive line has had trouble opening holes for the running game, they've been the best in the SEC in pass block, ranking first in the SEC, allowing just 4 sacks on the season, but they will be without starting left guard Garrett Dillinger, who will be out for the game. Leading that passing attack is redshirt junior Garrett Nussmeier. Nussmeier is 7-2 in his 9 career starts at LSU and has thrown for 300 yards or more 6 times this year and 7 out of his 9 starts. He ranks second in the SEC, averaging 330 yards passing per game, and ranks second in the conference and 8th in the nation with 20 touchdown passes. But he's also thrown the second most interceptions in the SEC this season with 9. There is one connection to Alabama for the LSU quarterback. He spent some time living in Tuscaloosa as his dad, Doug Nussmeier, was the offensive coordinator for the Crimson Tide in the 2012 and 2013 seasons. LSU is loaded at the wide receiver position. Kyron Lacey and Aaron Anderson are both in the top 5 in the SEC in receiving yards per game. Lacey and Tyler Mason are also in the top 10 in the SEC in receptions, while Lacey is second in the conference with 6 receiving touchdowns. Overall, LSU is 7th in the SEC, averaging over 32 points per game, but the Tigers are near the bottom of the conference in scoring defense, ranking 13th, allowing over 22 points per game. The Tigers don't rank in the top 10 in the SEC in pass or rush defense and rank 13th in total defense, giving up over 360 yards per game. A couple of stats that could have an impact in the game: LSU is dead last in the SEC in punting and punt returns. The Tigers average just 36 yards per punt and just 4 yards per punt return. Also, Alabama is tied for first in the SEC in turnover margin at +7, while LSU is 9th at +2. For Alabama and LSU to keep their playoff hopes alive, this is a have-to-win-it game. This will also be one of the biggest games of the week as Coach Saban and ESPN's College Game Day will be live in Baton Rouge. The game is also the ABC primetime game of the week. The broadcast is scheduled to start at 6:30 with a 6:49 kickoff. Reporting from the Crimson Tide production studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, I'm Christopher England with Tide TV.